This morning's meeting is open to all members of the Community Club and is being recorded for viewing on the Community Club website. We are also live streaming this morning's meeting for member viewing. To honor America, please join me in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence to remember those who are serving in uniform. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Pat, would you please call the roll of the board members? Here.
Here. Here. Here.
Thank you, Pat. This morning, Bob is not with us. This morning, he is attending his son's wedding in Charleston. And Barb is not with us this morning. She is spending time with her husband, Gary, who is recovering from surgery. The first item on the agenda is to approve the minutes of the prior board meeting. So may I have a motion to approve the minutes from the January 26th board meeting?
Motion to approve the January 26th board meeting minutes.
I'll second.
Okay. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the minutes for the January 26th meeting are approved. This morning in the audience, we do have our 6th District County Commissioner, Joe Sherrill, is here. Joe, do you have anything that you'd like to share? Okay. I spoke with Mayor Foster last night. He is suffering from a severe allergy attack, and so he was in no condition to come and speak. So he sends his regrets for not being able to join us this morning. I'd like to share the following comments from across the board. I'm going to start this morning with the state of the Community Club. As we reported last month, the Community Club finished 2022 with very strong financial performance, allowing us to add funds to our reserve balances for future projects and rainy days. We now have just over $5.8 million in operating reserves, and we remain debt-free. The state of the Community Club is as strong as it has ever been. The state of the economy during 2022 caused us to be very cautious with our capital expenditures. We did complete the renovation to the Racket Center, and we tried a variety of new dining events and options for our members during the off-season. We also completed the Marina Dock expansion project, adding 20 slips at Dartmoor Marina and 9 slips at the St. George Marina. In April, Chief Williams resigned, and in August, Chief Self assumed the leadership of our police department. In May, we paid off the loan on this building, the center, making the Community Club debt-free. We deferred the Robin Hood Park expansion project, the Heatherhurst Clubhouse renovation project, and the St. George Marina building project, all due to rising construction costs. In October, we announced the beginning of our strategic planning initiative, and in December, we announced our new agreement with Glade Realty to market Community Club-owned lots. As we look forward to 2023, we expect that we will be able to maintain our current financial performance trends, and we are aware that the uncertainties associated with unpredictable interruptions in the global supply chain will continue. We believe that we will see some improvement in the economy. However, the current conditions in the labor market will remain challenging throughout 2023. So as we look ahead to 2023 and beyond, we will begin the planning process to build the new emergency services building to replace Fire Station 1, to modify the Druid Hills driving range, add a new practice putting green, add the Golf Performance Center, and continue the planning for the replacement of the Druid Hills Clubhouse. At Robin Hood Park, we'll be building the new bocce courts and planning a new pavilion. We'll also renovate the St. George marina building, and plan for the completion of the renovation of the Heatherhurst Clubhouse. We'll remain vigilant in monitoring our financial performance as the year unfolds, and will take the necessary actions to ensure we minimize any negative impacts. Strategic planning update. We continue to work with private club associates on their comprehensive strategic planning engagement to deliver a strategic plan document designed to grow, change, and evolve with time. The plan will be consistent with the community club's mission statement, vision statement, and core values and fabric of Fairfield Glade. Included in the process will be an analysis of emerging trends among communities like ours and an examination of our facility use data along with forecasting of future needs. Initial interviews with community leaders and key stakeholders have been conducted, and additional interviews with key stakeholders will be scheduled. In late March, PCA will schedule discussion groups and will soon be sending out instructions regarding how to participate. You may expect to be surveyed regarding your usage of various amenities, and a regular membership communications plan is also a component of this planning process. The new Strategic Planning Committee is in place, and this committee will play an important role throughout the process to develop the strategic plan document. Once the strategic plan document is completed and presented to the membership and approved by the board, the committee will be charged with annually recommending updates based on new trends, new data, and new needs and conditions as they are identified. The committee will develop and update a work plan to be reviewed annually by the board. Members who would like to share additional comments regarding the strategic planning initiative can reach out to the strategic planning team by sending messages to the strategic planning team at strategicplanning@fairfieldglade.cc. Information concerning the strategic planning team is also available on the community club website. The Jewett Hills Project. Jewett Hills Project team continues to work on the planning process to determine what the next Jewett Hills Clubhouse facility should provide for our growing community. After last month's board meeting, a contract was signed with Golf Links to be our golf architect to design the layout for the driving range and the practice putting green, produce construction plans for those two areas, and develop a request for proposal to hire a company to modify the existing driving range, construct the larger putting green, and to provide oversight during the construction phase of the driving range and putting green areas. The golf committee met last week with Jerry Lemons from Golf Links to start the design phase for this part of the project. The steering committee also released an RFP for the design of the new Golf Performance Center, and responses were due from bidders on February 21st. The Food and Beverage Subcommittee, working with private club associates, distributed the clubhouse survey on February 10th with responses due back by February 20th. Food and Beverage Subcommittee, working with PCA, is now beginning the process of analyzing the survey results. The subcommittee will also collect input regarding preferred options for consideration in the clubhouse design from other users like the Wyndham Timeshares and the golf package providers. Members who'd like to share additional comments regarding the Jewett Hills project can reach out to the Jewett Hills planning team by sending email messages to the planning team at jewetthillsprojects@fairfieldglade.cc. And information concerning the Jewett Hills Advanced Planning Team is also available on the Community Club website. Last month, the Community Club Board of Directors shared a proposed memorandum of understanding with the declarant, Mr. Tom Anderson. This morning, the board will consider the memorandum of understanding. The Board of Directors believes that the MOU with Tom Anderson is advantageous to both organizations. Tom Anderson will gain a valuable parcel of property on Peavine Road in the core of Fairfield Glade that will complement and support his commercial real estate holdings around the Grove. Community Club will gain the Jewett Hills driving range and golf maintenance parcel, removing any hurdle to the redevelopment of the Jewett Hills clubhouse and golf complex. Community Club will benefit from replacing the 47-year-old fire department building to meet the current and future needs of the fire department and EMS personnel, and the community club will have the option to avoid a capital investment in a new Welcome Center building by entering into a commercial lease agreement to be an anchor tenant in a newly constructed building in a prime location on Peavine Road. Community Club will also benefit from additional annual assessment revenue from the additional residential development. The Community Club Board of Directors believes that this MOU is in the long-term best interests of the Community Club. Finally, on Tuesday, February 21st, the Community Club Board of Directors announced that the Community Club and Bobby Jones Links had entered into a management agreement for the operation of the Stonehenge Grill and the snack bars at our 4 golf clubs. Bobby Jones Links will also consult on the new Druid Hills Golf Club food and beverage venue. All of our current food and beverage employees will continue their employment with Bobby Jones Links. For several months, the Fairfield Glade Community Club Board of Directors has evaluated several options to enhance the club's food and beverage operations and to improve the financial performance of the Stonehenge Grill and the golf course snack bars. We've explored various options, including maintaining the status quo, engaging a food and beverage consultant, and hiring professional management. After considerable discussion, the Community Club Board of Directors solicited proposals from 4 club management consulting groups. These companies were invited to review our food and beverage operations and submit a proposal. After thorough analysis and deliberation, the Community Club Board of Directors is unanimous in its belief that engaging a management company with specific expertise in multifaceted food and beverage operations is in the best interest of the Community Club. And that is our February update from across the board. The next item on the agenda is the Treasurer's Report. Bruce?
Good morning. Good. You're awake. All right. Refer you to the handout, and I will remind you that the dollar numbers with the parentheses number beside it is in reference to the sheets attached. So I'll begin with the fact that we entered 2023 in a strong financial position. On the balance sheet review, if you look at sewer, we have a little over $4.6 million of total cash compared to $4.3 million at the end of January of 2022, which is a positive variation of over $424,000. For the Property Owners Association and amenities, we have $3.2 million of capital cash plus $7.2 million of operating cash for a total of $10.4 million of POA and amenity cash compared to $8.9 million at the end of January of 2022, which is a positive variation of $1.5 million. On cash flow, sewer ended January with a positive cash flow of $415, which is a negative variation of $48,853 compared to budget. Revenue for January was negative $11,478, and that was driven by fewer tap fees than we expected. Expenses were negative $37,375, driven by higher repair and maintenance costs, plus material and supply expenditures. For the Property Owners Association, we ended January with a positive cash flow of $131,000, $59,772 better than budget, driven by administration realizing a positive variance to the budget of $46,000, primarily due to recognizing outdated gift cards not redeemed. The community maintenance was also positive $29,759, primarily due to less salt purchases and reduced contractor costs. On the amenities, we ended January with a negative cash flow of $459,000, $33,000 better than budget. Food and beverage actually had a good January with revenues of $33,827 over budget, and net operating income for all food and beverage positive $19,221 to budget. In addition, the center and recreation was favorable to budget $24,006, driven by increased facility rental at the center and utilities favorable to budget. Overall, POA and amenities ended January with a negative cash flow of $324,000, $92,900 better than budget. As always, in January, we're making adjustments from the year end, and so as we go from one year to the next. And those variances, we'll do some more adjustments in February, but I expect those variances to smooth out at the end of the first quarter. So I would ask you to pay more attention to my quarterly report come the end of the first quarter than the variances here. Since Barb's not here, I'd ask you to go to the last sheet. I'll cover the timeshare since Barb's not here. January, we had total revenue from the timeshares of $10,220. That compares to total revenue last year of $5,796. And the thing that struck me was if you look at the room nights, there's 2686 this year and 2766 last year, meaning there were more room nights last year than this year, but they spent twice as much, which is fine with me. So, and if you look especially at food, last year they spent 3766. This year they spent 7883. So Adams, they helped out on the revenue on food. So we had fewer times per share, folks, but more spending. Works for me. So, any questions for me on this, Mr. Radcliffe?
Mr. Cox, last year you told us at the same time to wait till the first quarter.
Yep.
And then we saw what transpired towards the end of the year.
Yep.
Budget-wise.
Right.
So, can you share with us Bruce's vision for what a good budget to actual at the end of the year would look like?
For the size of budget, Mr. Radcliffe, that we have, I think if we're within 15 to 20% of the budget, to actual, I think that is good performance. I mean, we have $28 million of revenue here. This isn't a small facility, and we are, with the variance, especially with the variance last year of all the expenditures on R&M and those kind of things and utilities, it's tough. But so that's where I am, Tom.
That's helpful. That gives us something that we strive with.
Yeah, I know. You'll write that down and you'll calculate it for me. I understand, Mr. Radcliffe. I do. I get it.
Huge increase and then huge amounts at the end of the year.
I understand your position clearly.
I don't know if you really do.
I do.
Okay.
I do.
I'll give you that if you do.
Thank you.
We're also, can you share with us, because we're going to talk about the memorandum of understanding.
Mhm.
So from a financial standpoint, can you share with us a scenario where we would let the developer finance the new station? Because I think that was one of the positives. Maybe I was.
Now, one of the things Mr. Anderson did was said, look, as we go through this, if you need financing, and I'm more than willing to participate in that. But what we're planning on doing is looking at several sources of financing, and we'll choose obviously which one is the most favorable. He will submit to us a proposal. We will go to our bank that we're using now, Truist, and get a proposal. We'll go other places and get a proposal, and I'll present those proposals and why we chose the one we did when we get there.
But it's financing versus some kind of lease or something.
No, it's financing, right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
I just want to say, I think the board did a fabulous job during a turbulent time of managing the revenue stream. And I think it's great that you paid off the center early and made wise decisions on that. So I think the board should be applauded for what they're doing financially for us here.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the comment. Anything else? Okay.
Okay, before we move on, I do want to introduce, there are two other folks in the audience that you may want to see here. We've got Doug Hellman is with us today. He is the president of business development for Bobby Jones Links. He's in the back there. And then with him is Adams Horn, who is our new food and beverage manager. And he began this week and will be with us full-time the beginning of March. He'll be here full-time. There is no general manager's report, and Bruce did the resort report. So, Sam, would you do the architectural control report for us, please?
Good morning. Okay. The architectural control reports as follows. Through January of 2023, we had 93 miscellaneous changes to already existing homes. The same period in 2022, we had 71. New homes approved in January of 2023 is 11, compared to last year, which was 9. New homes completed, including manufactured homes, through January of this year was 11, and last year we had 17 at the same time. Is there any questions?
Thanks, Sam. Okay, under unfinished business, we have the one item, which is the declarant memorandum of understanding. I covered that during the across the board. Since we posted that last month, we had a total of 17 comments from the community. A couple of folks actually commented more than one time. So that's a relatively small number of comments for a topic of this size. We also have had the opportunity to respond to the questions that individuals raised. And so at this time, I'll entertain a motion to move forward with approving the memorandum of understanding.
I make a motion to move forward to approve the memorandum of understanding.
Okay, is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? And Ellen is abstaining. The, under new business, we have the 2022-2023 capital carryover. Bruce?
Yeah, every year we have projects and/or purchases that were not completed as scheduled in the previous year, and 2022 is no different. And I'll quickly go through the list here. We're going to carry over $31,032 for the approval of sense of arrival. That's the signs that we're putting up, which we're finishing the one up at the corner of Peavine and Stonehenge, and then we'll be placing the sign out at St. George. Also, we're going to carry over $15,000 for an F-450 dump truck, which we had $80,000 in and found out that the cost is actually $95,000, and we have purchased it. It has not arrived, so we're going to carry that money over. On the trails, we're going to carry over $15,000. There's a building that was owned by someone else sitting down on our property, and we purchased that building. So we made the purchase, but we haven't completed the sale, so we're going to carry over $15,000 to cover that. Facility building improvements, we're going to carry over $15,000, and that's for electrical work here in the pool pump room, which we did not get completed. Golf equipment, we had several things on order that haven't come in, so we're having to carry over $100,000 for golf course equipment. So when they come in, we'll have the money to purchase that. The Grove restroom and others, last year we had $50,000, and I'll talk more about that in a minute. But we had $50,000 in the budget last year for the Grove improvements, and we didn't spend any money. And now we are going to, which you'll hear the PR in a moment, spend $100,000. So we had $50,000 last year, $50,000 this year, so we're carrying over the $50,000 last year for the restrooms at the Grove. And then the center HVAC system upgrade, we didn't get that completed, and some parts are on order, so we need to carry over $26,881 for that. So total POA and amenities, we're going to carry over $252,913. In sewer, with collection system expansions, we didn't get as much done as we had planned, so we're carrying over $31,665 for that. On regular capital, We're carrying over $6,380, and that's for a boring tool that was ordered but not received. And then the Lake Catherine Force Main project, we didn't get quite as far as long as we thought we would, so we need to carry over $142,343 for that. So in sewer, we're going to carry over $180,388 from 2022. So I make a motion that we approve those capital carryovers and adjust the budget accordingly.
A second.
Okay, is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, the carryovers are approved, Pat. Okay, we have, as I said, we've got a couple of folks here from Bobby Jones Links, and we put out an extensive announcement earlier in the week, and I just covered it in the across the board. So are there questions that anyone has on the Bobby Jones Links agreement? Step up to the microphone then, please.
Ken, in that agreement, are you going to post it so we can go through it and have an understanding such as, and is there a management fee? What's that going to look like? And along those lines, Bruce, are you going to restructure the budget for food and beverage so we get an idea of what that'll look like with the changes, like I'm assuming labor is going to be out of it, but there'll be the management fee and so forth?
We don't intend to post the agreement, Tom, but I'll say this. Next month, you'll see a revised F&B dashboard that will include Stonehenge events and the all 4 snack bars. And that budget, when we negotiated with Bobby Jones Links, we had already approved a budget for 2023, and they accepted that budget. So they are going to be held to the budget that you saw in November and was approved in December. And so you'll see, and all their fees, et cetera, are going to be included in the cost of sales. So it'll all be in that dashboard.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, sir. Step up to the microphone, please.
Ted Landers. I just want to say I think this is a huge step forward for the association to have an outside firm come and manage our food and beverage. I know that's a lot of work that went on in order to get this done, and I just want to say thank you, because the current system we had been working under was not working well for us. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Ted.
Okay, do we have anyone else? Yes, Tom, step up to the microphone, please.
I know you passed the memorandum, but I still have the same questions, Ken, that I asked you twice and you did not respond to. To me, I have no idea why in the world we are putting an agreement in to consider leasing space if Mr. Anderson goes through with his Welcome Center project and those additions. And we've got the center, and to me, if there's going to be a Welcome Center at all, I would, in Wyndham and Fairfield Glade Homes wants it, I think it ought to be here, and we ought to lease the space to them, not leasing additional space when we have this facility.
Tom, in the agreement, okay, there is an option for
Yeah.
us to exercise that if we want to do that.
I understand.
We're not ready to make that decision at
I
this
still
point.
am asking for why we are even considering participating in a Welcome Center in somebody else's facility.
Well, let's be very clear, okay? There is a Welcome Center here already.
Mm-hmm.
That Welcome Center is in the Wyndham building for the Wyndham guests.
Correct.
Okay? The idea of having a Welcome Center that is in a position that is very visible for individuals as they're coming to Fairfield Glade that are not Wyndham guests, okay, is something that we believe would be a very positive thing for the community. Because today, if you don't know that you need to come to the center to get information, you don't have any idea where you need to go to get information. Okay, so
Well, it's going to be
so-
down past the area where the fire department is now, which is any.
No, it's going to
any more
sit, it would
informative.
sit on the fire department property, okay?
Okay.
And then we would add the signage saying that there's the welcome center is located here, okay? But that is way down the road in terms of whether or not we'd be ready to do that. The reason that that's even a consideration is that once we've solved the situation with food and beverage, this building is the biggest problem that we have
Absolutely.
in terms of trying to make things work. And so there will be a project to look at repurposing this building in order to try to generate some revenue out of this building, okay?
Yeah.
All of that will happen well before we decide whether or not we need to enter into an agreement to rent space from Tom Anderson.
Okay. Well, I
So
just had a problem.
it's a process that we need to go through.
I just had a problem trying to understand why that was part of the land swap agreement. But any comment on that? Why it was included with the land swap agreement?
Because we wanted to make sure that we had opportunities in there that would be beneficial to us. Because at the point that if in fact that building goes up, okay, we are positioning ourselves so that as we look out into the future, we will have significant capital expenditures, and doing a lease for some space would be better than needing to build a building to house a welcome center.
Okay. I just have a problem with us having a welcome center. The second part of the discussion that you and I exchanged is I think that this is the time where we involve the non-dues paying properties in the Glade. As I mentioned to you, I believe that we ought to be looking at Good Sam's, the Wyndham Reception Center, the mall, the eye center. All of those, I believe, should participate in the cost of the new firehouse. The county as well. But, and I only say that because you made the statement in the, across the board that we're in good financial shape to cover the $2 million for a new building. So I don't know if you want to address that or not. It's up to you.
When the time is appropriate, we will have conversations, particularly with the county, because they will have occupancy in the building. Okay, because the EMS group will be in the building, okay? So we will be having a conversation with the county about helping to support the financing of the building.
But I'm talking about Good Sam's, Fairfield Glade Home Facilities, those that are not dues paying members participating as well. Good Sam's being the biggest one.
Well, I'm sorry there, Tom, but I'm confused, because Good Sam does pay dues.
I'm sorry?
Good Sam's does pay dues.
The whole of Good Sam's does not pay dues.
No, sir. Good Sam's pays dues. Okay, you need, check it out, okay? They pay dues. They are dues-paying members for the parcels of land that they are on.
How much dues are paid for the nursing home and
They have like 90 memberships that they pay for. Because those are the parcels that they're on up there.
okay. Did you say the same about the eye center and the Village Green Mall?
The eye center is a commercial entity, doesn't pay dues, and the mall doesn't pay dues.
I'm sorry?
The mall does not pay dues. They're,
Homes
they're,
have been, I'm sorry, I'm having trouble hearing you.
the mall does not pay dues, and neither does the eye center. Dues.
And the eye center.
Right. Your churches don't pay dues. The churches here don't pay dues either.
Directly,
You
they
get-
do through their membership, I believe. That's why I didn't list them in my recommendation.
I see, okay.
Anyhow,
But they're all considered as commercial pieces of property. Okay, do we have anyone else that wants to comment? All right, the next item on the agenda is the purchase requisition. We have one of those for the Grove restrooms. Bruce?
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, we had $50,000 in last year's budget for improvements at the Grove, and we did not expend that. We carried it over with the motion we just approved. We had $50,000 in this year's, and what we're going to do is we're going to make a contribution to improvements at the Grove, and that contribution will be spent towards building a permanent restroom at the Grove for all the events that we're going to have at the Grove. And so I would make a motion that we approve the $100,000 as a contribution to the building of a restroom at the Grove.
I second the
Okay,
motion.
is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the purchase requisition in the amount of $100,000 is approved. Pat? Okay, we have Phil Birdsall is here today to give us an update on Fairfield Glade Resident Services.
Well, good morning, and thank you as always for this opportunity. Today I'd like to bring you up to date on a resident services program called Music for Life, sometimes known as Music in Memory. Now, the information I'm going to give you this morning I received from Ed DeVries, who is part of the group of volunteers that work on this program for resident services. Ed also just happens to be the president of our board of directors. In case you're unaware, the Music for Life program is designed to provide music to those in our community who suffer from serious dementia or Alzheimer's. Why? Because it's been shown through research and through some very clear empirical evidence that those with Alzheimer's who may lack any show of movement or any responsiveness often respond in very dramatic ways when they listen to music that they loved when they were younger. Once a music genre is identified for a particular program or for a particular person, our program sets out to create a unique playlist of appropriate songs which can be played by or for a person with Alzheimer's. The results are sometimes nothing short of amazing. This program was brought to Fairfield Glade a few years ago due to the efforts of the Fairfield Glade Rotary Club. Not too long after that, the Rotary Club agreed to partner up with Resident Services to run this program. And perhaps 3 years ago now or so, the Resident Services undertook full operational responsibility for the program with considerable continued support financially from the Rotary Club. Resident Services was just about fully geared up to operate this product and this program and provide it to our community members when, and they even had a pilot program started at Good Samaritan, and then came COVID. And with the distancing and isolation and quarantining, et cetera, the program effectively got paused and went dormant. Now, however, we're in the process of retooling Music for Life and getting it back up to speed. One very interesting and significant change is that we have switched the music delivery system, and I think this is kind of interesting. Previously, we utilized an MP3 mini player. I don't even know what that is. But, be that as it may, it was preloaded with the individualized music program list with the user's favorite music. And that, of course, was identified typically by working with the family or the members of the family or even friends of the ultimate user. There was nothing inherently wrong with the MP3 system, except it was not all that user-friendly in this context, especially for a family with an Alzheimer's-related diagnosis in the household. So we have now switched the music delivery system to a more expensive but less technologically demanding player, actually called the Senior Music Player. I'm told it is much more user-friendly. It's a tabletop device with a large print on-off switch. It does not require a headset, although you can use one if you so desire. This system costs about 3 times what the MP3 system costs, but offers a much more desirable delivery system in our resident functional memory reactions. We now have 6 such players in stock, thanks to the continuing support of the Rotary Club. One of those systems is now in use by a female resident and it is reported that she, and I quote, she and her grace givers, caregivers, very shortly to residents with memory loss symptoms. I became aware of this program and this concept several years ago when I watched a documentary called Alive Inside. It had a tremendous impact on me when I watched it. You can probably find this video if you'd like on YouTube. I went on my television set last night and I found it on a streaming app called Tubi. You may be familiar with it, I may not be, but it was there, T-U-B-I, and it's free. Again, it's called Alive Inside, and I believe, and I will say to you, it's worth watching. Now, one other quick update for you on a somewhat unrelated matter. We were very fortunate recently to have Conrad Tours visit our offices with a group of residents. And we were really excited that new volunteers actually stepped up and stepped forward for us as a result of that tour. So thank you to John and to those people. Now please, stop in anytime. Stop in if you have a need. Stop in if you'd like to volunteer for one of our programs. Remember, we're located in the strip mall behind Dollar Tree. This is the promotional part. And we're open 9 to noon, Monday through Friday. And always for all of your support.
Thanks, Bill. 3 minutes in length.
My name is Steve McCauley. I have a question regarding the future fire department. Where is the new fire station going?
Okay, the new fire station will end up being located on property that's appropriate for the size of the fire station. The process is going to be that we will need to identify what needs and requirements the building has for the fire department and what needs and requirements the building has for EMS. That'll determine how big the building's going to be, and then we'll look for the location that would accommodate that. And we have several pieces of property that we anticipate would be appropriate.
Are you willing to tell me where they're at?
No.
Okay.
Until we go through the process. There's going to be a process here, okay? And the other thing I want to be clear on, okay? It's not about the fire department.
It's the
This
entrance, too.
this is about fire protection now and in the future, and it's about medical services now and in the future.
I am concerned looking, right now, it's in a central location at a major road. It can go left, it can go right, go north or south. I'm looking at property on Peavine, there's hardly any. I don't want the fire station to be a mile down the road. That's where I'm concerned about that, okay, if it's on Sneed and they got to go to Westchester, they got to go through a stop or a four-way stoplight, turn left, and I'm concerned that the property is going to be, are you buying the property or the deal is that he's giving you the property?
No, that's not correct. It'll be located on property we own.
Okay. I am really concerned that it's not going to be centrally located and it's not going to enhance the fire protection, the medical part. Real concerned about if it's down past the wellness center, I don't think that's going to be a good fit.
Well, all of the locations that you're talking about are purely speculation. So let's go through the process and figure out where it's going to be located. Okay.
Second thing, the survey on the food and beverage about Druid. Are the results going to be published?
Yes, they'll be published.
Okay. Is the board going to follow the majority of what people want?
Well, let's remember that survey is not the final survey. There'll be additional surveys in this process.
Yeah, the purpose of that survey was to help us define the requirements to let a request for proposal for a clubhouse architect. Now, the clubhouse architect, when we bring that person or that company on, they will be the ones that'll be doing the designs, to showing us the pictures, laying out the floor space and all of that. So we're probably several months away from that happening.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
Tom Ratcliffe. Last month, I gave the board an open letter in which I discussed what I saw was a need for the board to strategically look at the activities that they do, focusing really on those activities and get out of the, what I term the operations business. And there've been major steps that they've taken that way. In terms of the accountability, I hope the food and beverage, the Bobby Jones is an example of something where it helps them get out of that and hold the organization accountable. But I also mentioned in there that I felt it was badly needed that we needed every board person to pull their weight. There's a lot of projects going on. We've heard them. And now we have new ones, the fire department, where that's going to move and so forth. So we need every board member pulling their weight. Also at that same time, the declarant director position was open. It was vacant. And it was my understanding that the board was to vote on that opening. Tom Anderson, the declarant, submits his recommendation, the board votes. None of that took place, and
Excuse me, Tom, did I not respond to your
Can I-
message?
can I-
Yeah, just a second, okay? I don't want you speculating on things. I responded to your question and told you the board has voted on Ellen Anderson for Tom's replacement, okay? So that is done, okay? So we need not to speculate on things that I have told you what has taken place.
so let me, because it's my time, let me tell you what, I approached Ken after the meeting. There was no vote taken at the meeting. I approached Ken afterwards and said, and asked the question, Ken, are we going to vote on this position? Ken's first reaction is, Mr. Ratcliffe, you're way behind the times. This took place in November and December, quote unquote.
Mhm.
What took place? I asked the question, what took place? I didn't hear, I was at the meetings, I didn't see a vote at all. Tom, took place. The board is very comfortable, as discussed, and is very comfortable with the position, with the nomination. I asked the question, was there a discussion with the declarant about the responsibilities of that position on the board? Again, Ken's response was, we don't have one. We didn't have the conversation. Now, I think I have it right, Ken. I asked if there was going to be a vote. Again, I got looked at and said, what vote? Now, let me just clarify. The bylaws are very clear, very clear. The board votes. They never voted. Now, what I find interesting is that this came about, and the timing of it was also, in my mind, questionable. But the long and short of the whole thing is then, later on, this past month, per your communication, Ken, February 8th to be exact, the board voted in executive session. You're all here. But they had to vote in executive session, and I, pardon the example, but I refer to it as why in secret. What was the deal? If it was not a big deal, why do it in secret? And yet, it was. And there was no discussion today that it even took place. Now, I'm not saying we should get rid of the seat. I'm not looking for Mr. Anderson to get rid of the seat. What I'm looking for is a board with a lot on their plate, and we need 7 board members participating. And Ellen, no disrespect, but at the same time, I do believe it's important that we have folks that are here, not out of state. So, thank you.
Okay, do we have other comments? Okay, I'll entertain a motion. Do we have any comments from board members?
Yeah, Ken, I'd like to make one. Just looking out in the audience this morning, I see so many of our residents that volunteer their time and talents to serve on our various committees. And the board of directors could not do our work without them. So when I call your name, would you just stand up? It's such a positive thing what you do for the board, and we're deeply appreciated for it. From the MCPC, we have Dave and Kevin here. Please stand and remain standing so we can all recognize you. I'm gonna get them. Give me time. Also, we have Beth from the Lakes Committee. We have Joe from the Election Committee. We have Robin from the FAC. And we have 4 new members of the Strategic Planning Committee. We have David, Barb, Bruce, and Kathy. Please stand. And on behalf of the board of directors, we just want to thank you for giving your time and talents to us. You make a contribution to us every day. You do the hard work we don't see. You don't get on next door and whine. You don't get up and make unnecessary announcements at these board meetings. You do the work, and it's very appreciated. Thank you.
Do we have any other board member comments? With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Okay, is there a second to that motion? Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion passes. We stand adjourned.
I lost my connectivity too. It must be catching.
But it is, the way they pool,
Strong lady.
the way they pool the allotment of connection is funky, so.
Hello,
Hello, I'm Mary Nixon.
I'm Greg.